Hey Nick, think was Yeah, now
Hey,
you're back.
can you
Yeah,
hear me?
yeah, I
Yeah,
can hear you.
pick up. Yeah, you cut out. I don't know if I was still going and then it stopped.
Yeah, like I was talking about, I think my internet stopped. So yeah, in summary, I just said like the now issue is the retraction to develop, to
Yeah,
collect resources, for you to be able to do a good transformation,
yeah,
for you to do a calculation on how you're going to intervene. You'd like to add some stuff?
yeah. What I wanted to say, for like, just to add some clarity to analyzing the Mayan calendar. Um, I analyze it by the first day being sort of an underlying theme, and the 13th day being sort of an overruling concept that is pulling that theme. Um, but they both great points to analyze it from, and I'm sure there are a million more because it's endless. But yeah, one thing you said sparked an insight for me that because I've always thought of two Kabish Balam as sort of retracting from the world, since Ah being this sort of energy of the home, you know.
Hmm.
But also, as Khan is the lightning, as the overruling concept in the 13th day, the retraction of lightning is sort of is that thunder, and Ish Balam represents the jaguar's roar in the jungle is a representation of thunder for the Mayan. It's
Hmm.
pretty amazing
Yeah,
retraction from the lightning.
yeah, it's true.
But yeah, the second day is the duality. It's the sort of like the choice of the beginning, right? So it's about transformation. So is that transformation going to develop, or is this transformation wilting and dying? Because
Hmm.
the idea of the earth is either fertile or barrenness. Uh,
Hmm.
so that's the idea of this path that we're explaining.
Yeah, and something like that sparked me an insight as we were talking about that. Because if in the past Trecena we were talking about like the saga of the hero that needs to follow the path, the Oshlahukan, this Trecena, whether we look at that as Hun-Ah or Oshlahukan, it can be, whenever like the hero is not able to win the battle and he lives long enough to see himself becoming the villain because he needed to go for a transformation, and now Khan has this connection with the enemy. Because if we take those metaphors, like as the Khan, like that is gonna be, walking by your side, like maybe won't notice, because who has been, walking in the jungle, know that sometimes, the more, even if you are focused, sometimes you can step into a snake, and you can get beaten by the snake. And this concept, that's something that comes, like, and you don't see that. And when you mention about retraction from the world, like as Ach needs to transform, I think the first path after feeling incomplete or if you something gray inside, is for you to retract. Maybe you need some time with yourself to put your ideas together. But Ishvalan can also represent, like the aggressivities, like the power of the thunder and the lightning. So is the power in the ferocity of the earth, which can add to the fury that is going to be accumulating in our Khan. Because it could be like retracting, just you trying to control the beast inside of you, from or just that just to add this, something that popped up in my mind while we
That's
were
good.
talking.
Right on. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I guess it's probably good to say that I guess probably everybody that follows you probably knows that we analyze the calendar non-linearly.
Yeah.
So time isn't just like in a straight line, because even if you analyze your own perception of time, uh, you might be stuck in the past or focused on the future and missing the present.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah. So, and you might not even know that everybody else around you is doing that as well, which is affecting your present moment
Mm-hmm.
as well. So there's this very interesting idea of like time being non-linear, but sort of in a hidden way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's very interesting this concept because we live the day by day, like following 1 to 13 in a linear line. But it's very interesting to see, like how, because I think like one of the first rules is that, nothing can be isolated in the Maya calendar. Everything is interconnected. And you can see like we can, uh, like, even though like we tend to call the Trecena by the number 1 or the 13, but any of the positions of the Trecena, they make sense. We can align them. Like, what is the
Yeah.
correlation between the 1 with the now 8, that's going to be the return, or what's the correlation with the 1 with the 3? So we see, how the chain, forms into that, like
Yeah.
the most possibilities of the future. And
Yeah. I think that's an important point because it really like dispels the fact or dispels the idea that the 1 and the 13th day are the best days to be born on or something like that.
yeah, yeah, that's BS. So now let's move to Oship the King. Talk
Yeah.
about this. Yeah.
Well, there's one thing that comes to mind that I when I was a kid I heard this Native American story about, and I don't know how true this is, but it's a legend or a myth, but I just remembered it, and it's about the eagle having to go through a transformation to like uh extend its life, and it was something about like I think it was like clipping its nails or something like with its or it might have been something with its beak, but I'm forgetting now. But
Mm.
my insight with three Tzikin is that the ruler of this Trecena is the serpent, and the serpent is the one that hypnotizes, creates the illusion. So then, in turn, the obstacle is to see through that illusion. And Tzikin represents vision, the sight, attention, and this is the obstacle of that. But in a sense, the obstacle opens the way uh, for you to penetrate that illusion and to diverge, and instead of being uh, directed in the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. Because the king has, like the one thing that I noticed about thinking and pondering about worship the king, because the ego has, like that vision, like that can see miles away. Because I like to see like the ego is like it's the outside vision, like the material vision.
Mm.
And but I also know like as it has like this intense vision, so it can get easily disturbed. If you just try to look or focus on other things, you kind of get completely lost. Like you need
Yeah.
to be straightforward, like this. Otherwise, like it's not gonna work for the king. But I see that now 3 is the one that is going to diverge. So if we don't do like a good calculation, like, or we don't know like what to transform in Trecena, like if we are too shaking about something that happened, that forces the now 3, like to go forward and diverge, that can disturb now the king. And I think that can be because Worship the King could be one now that can be, just creating a nod in the Trecena, because you cannot focus if you are diverting too much. And then now 3 is always going to be forward. And Tikin has that thing that is kind of hard with words. It's the one that just need to spend how we're going to be using like your resources that you're accumulating. It would be like taking risks as well, like of what do you do with the resources that you gather. Like what is going to be your move after you finish your retraction from the world. Because sometimes you can go paranoid, like in your own world. You can, just get surrounded about your own dark ideas or polluted or toxic ideas, and then the king can be the one, just going directly without like without a proper destination, without knowing like you don't have like a completely clear focus or where to go. Because remember, like because the more we are focused in this Trecena, the better it's going to be for us to see through the illusions, like a walk in the middle, see through, like the being transparent, like translucent between things. But I think it's a challenging novel,
Three,
to
Tikin.
treat
Yeah.
people.
Well, yeah, Tikin is the archetype of vision and sight and vision and attention, especially. But being being all those things, the eye, the eagle eye, is always something that's associated with the archetype of the eagle. And what's really interesting is that if we're looking at the theme of the Trecena being these like sort of walls, eagles have 3 eyelids, so it's interesting. We have 3 eagle, so the eye has 3 different little walls that protect it and relay it with liquid to. But
Yeah,
another
that's
thing,
interesting.
yeah, I never knew that till like actually, I'm pretty sure I looked that up like last time around, found that out. Uh, but yeah, I wanted to say that it's interesting when you start to learn about the intricacies of life, especially animal life or even human biology. You'll start to see the calendar within all these things. And I was looking up something about how the eye only has 1 artery and 1 vein coming from the back, and when that flow is clogged, then it causes a symptom called like, anyway, what happens is the blood gets clogged, and it starts causing like branching of blood clots and things. So you start to have a branching of, because it's interesting, if your eyes are disturbed, you start to see little red lines that kind of look like lightning in the eye.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. You take a day in the Mayan calendar, and you can see the association of that day with the first day and the last day. And that's what kind of really forms the lesson and the message of that specific day. And that's what we do. We analyze this and try to like basically prove the Mayan calendar.
Yeah. One thing that now that came up to me that I remember, if 13 Serpent at the end of the Trecena is the one that Khan is the one that announced changes in nature, Tikini is the messenger of the sky. Is the one that's going to be sending you a message from there. He's already opening the path for this message, that's going to be, fully comprehending in the accumulation of the Trecena is going to be delivered.
Yeah.
It was just something that,
like a message of wisdom to transform everything. And a great baton from Oshib Tikin to Kahib Akhmak is like, if your vision is diverted, then you are stopped in blindness. So if you aren't, if you can't see through your illusions, then you are stuck in your own blindness. So that's the next day is Kahib Akhmak, and Kahib is four, which represents sort of a container, or when the water becomes stagnant, from that perspective. You want to say something about it?
yeah, when the water gets, stuck, once something Nathan wrote that not wanting to see the truth, yeah, that connects to the Trecena, because if we are talking about the illusion, because sometimes we create our own illusion, like when as Nick spoke about, when the serpent, tried to hypnotize the others,
Mm-hmm.
and if the king, like try continues to ignore to see through that, now Kahib Ahmak for complementarity would be like when you hit the wall, because you're gonna be facing the blindness, like when you walk in darkness, when you fall in love about your ideas, or you fall in love with someone else, or with the speech of someone trying to sell you an idea, then you kind of get enthusiastic, because just like the Khan can be like the one trying to you know try to convince you of something. Maybe you could be fall into a trap, because and like if you're not able, if you're not aware to see through the illusion, like the see through like this blindness, like just like when we enter into blindness, we we're gonna have like a bad ending by the end of the Trecena. And I see like if we do not stabilize things in Kahibah Mak, so we're gonna be blind. But it can be also where we can do like the establish good deals, at least for business. I think it would be like an amazing day, like you have like the foundation of the complementarity, like the day where you can see who can be complementary to your business or to something that you are willing to transform since the beginning. Maybe you're gonna, like, as you have the need to transform, you need also to get the development of the Jaguar, also the straightforward actions from the King to combine, so you can have something fixed, something that you can rely on to transform. Would you like to add something?
Oh, it was great. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's all I have for that one.
All right. So then we
my
move
si-
to
my
yeah,
sister is my sister is born on that day for Akmak, and she's a great person. Um, but yeah, uh, it's an amazing day. It's a very complex day, Akmak. There's a lot to it.
yeah,
So, but yeah, but do you want to do the baton?
yeah, yeah. Now you go to the baton. You can
Oh,
add
okay.
something to
Well,
Hob now.
when you get stuck in blindness and you're not thinking right, you're not using your logic, then the next
Mm-hmm.
day comes and your thoughts are broken, or your thought process or your logic is falling apart. Um, and the next day is Hob Noh, or five: knowledge, thinking, or thoughts, speaking. Um, it's the day to find the thought, or to find the knowledge, to pinpoint it, and to morph the wrong thoughts, or to find the wrong thought that is keeping you stagnant in your blindness. So maybe you get stuck and you're blind to your own ignorance. Hob no is the day to find that ignorance, or that the knowledge of what you are blind to, so that
Mm-hmm.
you can morph and change, because this whole Trecena is about changing and transforming, and the serpent even is an accumulation of that change and transformation. So knowledge, the knowledge to transform what you want in life is, I think,
Mm-hmm.
right on the money for Hob No.
Yeah, that was great, because I see that like it's a Hob now, in this person can be a very violent. nawal, because we as you mentioned, like we needed to transform, so we started this new path of transformation. But after, if you are stuck in blindness, we can also become like we can overflow obsession. We can become obsessed about that. So we can even be way more, blinded by the light. So we won't be able to think straight. And I think that what can inflammate in the Trecena, because Hob now 5 is a very, very violent now, and as I usually tend to say in my Trecena analysis, say 5 days is where things can go sideways, because you cannot control that. Like, it's too much strength that you won't be able to contain that. And so if you and now, like, it's also as strong as 5. Like, it's very, you know, like, it can be very stubborn, obsessive, about the stuff, about the rules of wanting to make sense about stuff. But after, it's blinded, it goes crazy, it cannot. Exactly. Yeah, like a crocodile reptilian mind. Yeah, kind of like that.
A rude
Uh,
idea.
yeah.
A rude
Yes, a
idea.
rude idea.
Yeah.
Exactly, the
Uh,
rude idea. Great point. Because sometimes the rude idea that makes you become radical, want to do like rough changes. Because that can accumulate, that can see adding to the fury that can grow
yeah.
in the accumulation of the Trecena.
Yeah. So in the positive way, you're looking to transform yourself to become a wise person. And to do that, you need to find the knowledge that will help you uh, facilitate that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly. Yeah. Synthesize, being organized as well to know how to process all those changing experiences. Yeah, that was
yeah,
great.
and for being maybe someone who's born on that day, maybe there's a lot of work involved, a lot of
Mm,
work in finding knowledge and processing, because Noach is a lot of processing, logistics, and that sort of a
mm,
thing.
mm-hmm. Yeah, true. And want to say something about Wakip Tihash, six cut?
Yeah, Waqib Tihash is the day that uh, the king of Palenque, King Pakal, died. He died 2 days before his Mayan birthday on uh, six six mirror, six knife or cut. Um, very interesting nawal. I've known a lot of people born with this day, and it's a very interesting day. Uh, Six being the heart of the Trecena in regards to um, the heart having this mythical um, balancing associated with it, the scale of the heart, your heart weigh in like the Egyptian um, legends where Anubis weighs your heart against a feather.
Mm-hmm.
Six is like that. So this is the truth and lies in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like what are the illusions in your heart? What are the lies that you're weighing yourself against? Uh, it's the pondering cut. Maybe sometimes you don't want to cut away something that's in your heart, because the heart
Mm-hmm.
wants what the heart wants.
Mm, exactly.
And it'll be painful for you later when you don't cut it. And I know about that. But yeah, 60 hash, um, the pondering decisions. I've noticed that very prominently in that nawal. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, where to cut. I like what you said about the glyph of because it's almost like in the glyph itself, the idea of the transformation of the growth into being cut and used for a purpose. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so at the heart of this theme of transformation is is cutting, is editing, is looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing the truth and seeing lies. And that in itself is cutting, is refining you to become, to transform and to become a different person,
Mm-hmm.
to change.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very interesting because yeah, you said very well. Like the S6 is the heart, like, and then you have like the knife in your heart. Because to change, for being able to overcome this incompleteness that an nawal can bring since the beginning. Sometimes, like if you were, especially like if we ended up having to transform because we weren't able to advance as you wanted in the past Trecena. So now you are in the Trecena that's is gonna like force you to make a move, to intervene to something. So just like you have to make a cut. But 60 hashes could be like the day where we don't make a decision. You just put things into perspective, like seeing like if you are really seeing that through, or if you're not like just cutting like something that could be like fooling you, like it could be like the wrong wire they're gonna cut. So you need to be careful. So you're gonna be pondering, because that's like in the next Trecena is gonna be Tihash Trecena, where it's gonna grow. So we need to make a good thing to see what we can remove as the negative, what is being corrupting the Trecena, what's kind of being poisoning the Trecena at the end. Because sometimes, like this grayness, gray aspects of can be something like this. Sometimes like the being stuck in blindness, the obsession of Naor, can add too much confusion. So it's better for you to just put things into consideration. So then you can check if the mirror tells is the truth. If you just pass that scale of the heart. And
Yeah, that's I think a really great thing to highlight. Beautiful thing what you just said, because yeah, 60 hash is the pondering what you need to cut. And is that thing that you need to cut in you or outside of you?
yeah,
And that's where the
exactly.
pondering, and you can go back to 2 Ishbalam. It's like the duality of this Trecena, like what's fertile and what's not. But that's a good, almost like a thing to remember about every day or every Trecena with the 6, is that the 1 is coming. This is the 6th day, is the time to ponder that archetype, for then when it returns.
Exactly. The 6 is what brings the dramas. All the dramas like we suffer in this Tracenas is we have to blame on the 6,
Yeah.
blame on the heart,
Yeah, but
for
I
being
guess
tough.
you have 13 Tihash next, right? In Hunkame. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the pondering and then the accumulation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But yeah,
exactly.
but it's interesting because it's sort of towards the end of it, of the 13 different versions of an nawal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very, very fun to see, like, whenever we start to see the number 1, like how they're going to develop, if we follow, like, the returning of the nominals,
Yeah.
like, because whenever, it's going to come back in the next Trecena, it's going to be 8, so it's going to be like a stronger transformation according to how things are going to go, depending on how things are going to grow in this Trecena. And
Yeah.
moving to Kupka Wuk.
I
Yeah, go
just
on.
wanted to say, cutting the trance away is a great way to say it.
Yeah, cutting the trends. Yeah, is a good way. And moving to Kupka Wuk is that 7 is the hottest part of the Trecena, like the climax, as you can also say as the goal. As the middle point, for example, as I like to explain, you already know like what you started, like what you had to transform, and you know where things are tending to accumulate towards to the end. So probably what you're going to be seeing, the 13 is already built through your actions in that. So it's now just a matter of time to catch up for you to see, becoming bigger and bigger, becoming more present to your eyes. Um, because that I think that's bring a very interesting concept because following the Maya calendar, we can see that every single action, even if we don't do anything during the day, that tiny bit's going to be adding into something later in the future that we maybe not be able to see right now yet, because going to be plenty of things, running the back. But sometimes we see a little bit that can say, oh, we need to pay attention to that. Can be a sign. And Kawuk can be is that like the sheet lightning. So completely connected to the Naukan at the end. So where it's going to be like the unsolicited information. It's going to be like do signs that you need to pay attention to. So you're going to be seeing like they clear to you, and what are you going to be doing with that signs that you receive. And that's when we can see through the illusion, see what after pondering, maybe now we know, like after we remove the negatives, after we look at the mirror, maybe you can see through stuff. We can see through the dangers that can the can bring. We can see maybe a path where we can transform, like where we can see things working out, or can see like a way through those incompleteness of or maybe where we can see like the full picture in front of us. And especially as Nick connected the now like the cab Ishvalan, the two Jaguar, because when you are retracted from the world just being aggressive and you have a weapon in your hands, because the heart will not be rational to do some stuff. You need to ponder a lot. But Ihashi is you need to be very careful with that weapon, because whatever it goes, it always leaves blood shedding. What is his or is someone else. And after we ponder, like if we hold the knife, we are able to hold all the aggressivities of the Jaguar as well, of the planet Earth in this Trecena. So we may be able to see through all of these illusions. After we cut through the negative, we ponder there, we can see like this light of intuition of where we can intervene, where we can do the cutting in the next Trecena. And I think, do you have something else to add to Kawuk?
Yeah, I think in a very kind of elementary sort of idea of it being in between transformation and lightning, because Khan is lightning, and it's the accumulation of lightning that's within the storm. So the storm is transforming and is in the light and has lightning, and it's chaotic, it's chaos, and that archetype of nature is also within us as fury, gossip, and cynicism, and transformation because of all of that. But yeah, Kawak represents family, and it's a very interesting thing. This kind of ties into the next day, but Kawak being family is also the feminine healing, because that day Kawak is associated with midwifery. It's like bringing in the baby, the water breaking. And for the Aztec, it's the rain. But yeah, it's the reflection of insights, and to be wise is to reflect on your insights.
Exactly. And also, I think one thing that can connect like with the being like the wisdom of Khan would be also like how learning how to use like those, like being streetwise as well. Because I think this Trecena, it can be, like very interesting, like to highlight that we cannot trust everybody who just seems to be coming with you with good intentions, like with a good communication. It can be fallen by the illusion, as Kawuka also has, this light of communication, like of being able to speak well, speak with clarity, speak like to convince someone, about something.
Yeah.
But Khan, over there, can be, like could be just like something from the illusion, like a punch of illusion that can be bring, and Kawu can also be the trouble one, like if we don't pay attention to.
Yeah, and I noticed that Kawak people and the day sign has a very childlike element, and Khan being a teacher deposits into a room full of kids. So,
Mm-hmm.
but territorial, are you asking about Kawak, or because Kawak is more, it relates more to family and spiritual insight, like inner vision. I mean, I think every nawal has its sort of territory, but like as a territorial archetype, I think that's more with like C and maybe like Ish Balam and
Yeah,
Akabal and Toh, maybe.
yeah,
Like those nawals have more of a, yeah, like every archetype has its sort of relationship probably to like being territorial in a sense. But,
mm, yeah,
all right, on to
yeah.
the next one.
Connect to the Pakal's one.
Yeah.
Your specialty, Washaki Bunahpu.
Washakib Hunakpu, Kinish Hanam Pakal. Jesus wasn't the only one to die on the cross.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, eighth son. I had this great thing about the eighth day presents the order and the cycle of the Trecena. It presents the first and the last day kind of in a certain harmony or a choice maybe.
Mm.
And in this Trecena, I think it's the idea is that what are you ruled by? Are you ruled
Mm.
by the false glow or the true shining of the sun? Are you ruled by the enemy or God? And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the message of eight Hunakpu. You have anything about it?
Yeah, Hunahpu, as I like to think, like to explain the eight, also some to drop them, because as you mentioned, like is what connects, was keeping, like the cycle coming back, which is, I think, is a good word for the word what comes back. It's like a boomerang, like just like if we started something in now one, just like looking for a path, now eight is where we have like just to go back and start over again to walk the same path. So when you just start
Boomerang.
in the first one, yeah, it's connected to that.
Yeah, I made it that way.
Like the now one, it's just like you don't know exactly the path. You maybe walk in dark, and like in the dark to know this stuff. But in now eight, you already crossed the path, so you can have more experience, so you can do that a little bit better than you did in an hour one. So you are more prepared, especially because talking about like this coming back, because one is the beginning and the seven is the end of the Trecena. It's the end of every Maya accounting. Like if we already see what is going to be going on in the Trecena by the seven, now we're just waiting to become bigger, so we can be more visible, so we can see what's really going on. And Hunahpu is very interesting in this Trecena because Khan will talk about the illusion. So Hunahpu can be when you fall for yourself, like you fell in love for yourself, as you mentioned, and then like you kind of relied on your self pride, like you become like the traitor one, because maybe ambition can get in the way. So if you weren't able to transform in your past, tries during the previous Choki rounds and everything, maybe this path of transformation is where you can become the traitor. And if in the past Trecena, where we started with Hunahpu, like the path, the new battle, so you have to walk the path, So now, like if we didn't walk the path correctly, that's when Junajpu, the hero, can become the traitor. You know, I think like it's like the typical story of like I'm not a fan of Star Wars, but I think it connects to that, the villain.
Hmm.
Uh, and
Yeah, it's
but
the
also
return of the sun, because the sun started
exactly.
its path in the last Trecena, and now 20 days later is the return, and the return marks a cycle because it's returning to start again.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, it's an order, and it's really interesting that would be in this Trecena, the eighth sun.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was going to say about in the seven Kawak was just that in Palenque, the they had the line, they called it the line of Serpent Kings. So I thought it was interesting, like this idea of Pakal being in this Trecena, uh, and sort of like this depositing of the serpent into the storm and then the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's kind of out there.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
It, yeah, yeah, this is very interesting also because as you mentioned, like connecting to to Kawuk and also this return of the Trecena, because now maybe it could be like your second trial, your second try from the trying to transform, like your second time, you know, facing the battle or re-entering the battle. Maybe after transforming and getting to Kawuk with more light of what to do, like maybe you're starting getting like the wisdom, you are accumulated knowledge. Now you're more prepared for the battle as well. This battle to face the enemy that could be within or outside of you.
Nice.
And then we go
Yeah.
to Belair. Yeah, go. Do you have something else to
Oh,
add?
I was just gonna say, yeah, and also maybe the return to being loyal to the self, because
Mm-hmm.
you can lose your path, and you battle in your life doing what you want to, against what other people want you to do, and you battle that inside of you and outside of you, but it's a battle that everybody faces, and you can't forget that you have to be loyal to yourself sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's
Yeah.
I think that day, 8 Hunakpu, is a reminder of that, because the flower is the flower because it becomes you know what I mean. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
you have to be who you are, not
Mm-hmm.
what other people think you are, and not let that get to you. So,
Exactly. It also it connects into the other way, like whenever we are like in a good streak of
mm,
good things happening to us, like everything we do, like we just like we hit it, and then sometimes like we can like become we maybe seeing like the false glow, maybe fall for the illusion that everything that we do, you know, it's that can be our own illusion. That can also be like whenever we exceed from looking after our image as well on how we portray ourselves.
yeah, yeah. And the inner authority versus the external authority is great. Ah
Mm-hmm.
kind of represents the staff of authority.
Yeah, and also connecting because as in the beginning of the Trecena, we also had the Keb Ishvalam retracting from the world, you know, retracting to develop. Is already connected to this development, so the sun can return, you know, the new path to transform, because on the darkness of the earth, like retracting from the earth, like the realm of the Jaguar, is where you can
Mm-hmm.
see like where the hunter, like the warrior, can kill the jaguar, is able to kill the
Mm.
animal to come back to prove he was like ready for the battle, like as a training when he's in the darkness, nobody is seeing that, and then it returns, you know, for the battle is the return of the glory if you're able to kill the animal. or kill like the threat, like the snake.
Yeah, and even looking at the path of the sun in the last Trecena, beginning the path of the sun to end in Kame, the underworld, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and to retract from the world in the next Trecena and return to shine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, the calendar is like it's within myths and legends, it's within science, it's within biology, it's within sociology and psychology. It's
Mm-hmm.
what the modern world likes to call the matrix.
Exactly. Yeah, that's amazing. And then moving to Belair Imosh, nine water.
Born
Yeah,
again,
born
yeah.
again. Yeah.
Nice.
Good one.
Yeah, that's the illusion from Khan.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. I mean,
It's true.
there's other
Yeah.
like ways to be born again, I
Yeah. And I think here that this is like can be like the
guess.
a very tricky now in this Trecena because Belair Mosh 9 is what is retract like what is hidden between the sides, what is in the dark, like the underground rivers or the caves where they have like the humid caves, what is just staying on the dark. And Emosh is the injection of force, is the like the flow, the growth, but also the imprecisions that can lead to madness when we lose like the hand like or the touch on things and we destroy it for not being precise enough. Can be I think like the also can be represented like the paranoid, like when we misinterpret things, like is the now that can distort, like connecting to the collective consciousness, like where we all get our ideas, we're all connected, we're all drained, you know, like the power of emotion, like the power of imagination, of you creating the stuff that are not materialized yet. They live in the abstract world, just like especially nine, what is running inside of you, maybe your crazy ideas, you know, about the world, but like your insanities that sometimes you retract and don't let nobody sees from that. Because maybe what is going to be like, it can be like something that can be poison inside of you in your veins over there. But what can be also, you know, like the force running over there that's is giving you like more brave, more courage to face the battle as Junajpu just returned. But can be also like what is polluting stuff over there that can add to the poison side of the con.
Yeah, and when the counterflow rules the Trecena, the flow is hidden. The flow
Yeah,
of emotion. That's funny.
yeah, the flow is hidden.
Yeah, that's a tougher novel to analyze, but pretty interesting. Um, there's subtle things that I notice following the calendar that I have to write down separately that I haven't really broken down yet, but those things start to pop out the more you do analyze it, and I think that's maybe something that will happen with this day. But
Yeah, it's very interesting because every time like we go to a round, like there is always something else that pops like that opens up for us. Like we start seeing more perspective. I think that's the magic of the Maya calendar. It's like observing the day by day, you know, like the more rounds you go through, like the more things we start observing, the more aspects of life feels like start opening up for us.
yeah,
Because one of the things that connects to the Maya calendar that I think is the maybe the most magical stuff, because when you start to getting used to that, you kind of makes you know things like way faster through the possibilities, you know, through that like more automatically, more intuitively, without having to ponder too much. Because
yeah,
you know how to connect, you know how to connect the facts, not like the suppositions, you know, like how they can ended up, you know, building in the future, like what we've done in the past, because you're kind of starting getting used to thinking that way. What is connecting the past is going to take the future, so you need to be aware in the present to see
yeah.
through.
And talking about the calendar as a personality, or in regards to personality, the ninth day being a sort of a hidden aspect of a
Yeah.
personality,
Mm.
is a very interesting idea. And the people that I know who are born in this Trecena, they do have a very like personal dreaminess behind them. Well, the ones that I've been close to, like
Mm.
in a very artistic way, which I think is great. I never really see the
Mm.
craziness, but maybe I'm just not that close.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. There's something about because this is a very it's a very powerful Trecena, this one.
Yeah.
Because you see like the
Because Khan
masculine
is
numbers. Yeah.
Khan is power, and so
Mm.
is Ah, is like is the idea of wielding that power in a sense. And
Mhm.
yeah, the archetypes are predictable, and the Mayan calendar really expands on understanding archetype. I think, and it helps you to really connect to the ground floor of archetype, and more so than just explaining archetype, it's explaining the weaving of the archetypes, which is
Mhm.
a whole nother thing. And it was funny that
Yeah.
you said that thing about the womb in Greek means matrix, right? When we started talking about Emosh, because Emosh is said to be the womb, uh,
Mhm.
and especially associated with caves, but most of all, the flow of water. So,
Mhm.
but also in that sense, it's like the feminine transformation of water, like incubation, right? So it's interesting in that in this Trecena is we have a feminine transformation of water that is hidden.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, exactly. In the like the water, like the runs, in the heating from that. As we in the beginning of the Trecena, we see the two Jaguar retracting from the world, and in between opening the path for the focus. So you need to, as two accumulate retracts to get more strength to go forward. Nine is the one just staying over there. So for
yeah,
Tikin, to hold on like the strength to go forward, just to be have the focus, it's already being just stated what's running, outside of the site in Emosh. It's gonna be the flow, but it's how like especially because if the king can get disturbed because of in diverge three to king three ego, it can diverge the focus. It's
mm-hmm,
because of the inner craziness that this flow of water, this
mm-hmm,
ocean of crazy ideas can lead into. You are not sure about like if these ideas connect, because
yeah,
sometimes just to like this deep insight, sometimes we need to see the crazy ones as well.
yeah. I wasn't sure if you wanted to go into the snake reading of the Trecena, but I kind of missed the mark because I was going to say we should do the snake reading for this Trecena since it's 13 con. But yeah, it's almost like the
Yeah.
Jaguar is like observing the masses and how they're hiding in a sense,
Hmm.
and that's what's sort of pulling it forward anyway.
Hmm. Yeah, it's true. And here, like, I'm just trying just to go like in sequence, but in this always the second part for not being too confusing for people who are starting to follow the calendar. Just to go a little bit. I just connect to the beginning. Only just to make as we return, we compare to the what we initially walked as a way to not like get into this crazy concepts that like we are studying. And would like to add
What's up,
something
Dennis?
about
That's my friend Dennis.
yeah, yeah, buddy.
You know, start the next
Yeah,
one.
yeah. You want to start the next one? Lauhiek
You go first.
and Lin.
Yeah.
So then we
Oh,
move to Lau. Yeah.
I was just gonna say there's actually a pretty famous I think it's a Mayan sculpture of a monkey holding the symbol of wind.
Hmm. Cool. And So 10 is the convergence. 10, just like when many rivers converge into a lake, like is the concept where like you receive something, but you also give. So like is that two hand, or like also represents those formations with many rocks in many places that represents everything coming together. That we can express, for example, when you have like a collective where people like take something from that, but also give something to that. Just like when we collab with other people. And now Yek is the insufflation of life, is the spirit of the wind, what keeps us alive. It's the air of courage, just like when we inhale, like they can according as how we breathe, we can increase our heartbeats, heart rate, like for being more enthusiastic, for putting more energy. So energy comes from the movement. So that's like Yik can represents that, like what makes us move, like what's pushing us forward. It's just to breathe, to have this, this romantic experience about life. Because I see Yik as like as a kid who is very naive, enthusiastic, but also exposed very easily whenever he doesn't get what he wants. That comes, the temper tantrum, like when the Yik acts explosive, like full of emotions. And 10 Yik is going to be like the convergence of insufflation of life, the convergence of enthusiasm that can lead, like can be the point of the Trecena where it can help ask the help of the others, for pushing our things forward to help us in our process of transformation. Maybe we need a little bit of a push of encouragement from others to be able to finalize our steps of transformation, or to really kickstart in this road that are going to be following for the next 240 days, transforming following the nawal. So we need sometimes that kickstart of like an extra push to start, for us to start being smart, to start acquiring like the wisdom in life, getting like the streetwise stuff. So I see now Yik being like the one that is gonna push things forward, but also is what can explode into the fury of the Khan, of this stellar serpent. Because we see as this connection with the emotions, because Yek is in between, like the three ego and the Kahib Ahmak in the beginning of the Trecena. Ahmak is when you start getting blinded by emotions, and Yek is the convergence of the emotions, what is already like just like a balloon that's going to explode. Like,
Yeah,
thought something?
yeah, that's great. And also, the wind or the air is transformation because it's always moving forward. It's always incomplete. So it already has that theme. And the serpent pressures the wind because it constricts to kill. So that's why in this Trecena, the 10th day is wind, because it's the social pressure of the wind, the pressure to transform from an enemy. Yeah, pretty crazy.
That's true. Great. And one thing that kind of connected here, like very quick, because seeing that Lau Yek is between like the Tikin, because Tikin needs the wind, to fly high, and the more you fly high, sometimes like the harder it can be the fall, as we see in Ahmak. Like when you are stuck in blindness, you can suffer like a tremendous fall. It's because like too much pressure of the wind, it makes you fly with no control.
Yeah.
Well, something that came into my mind.
Yeah, the pressure of the wind is what's causing the vulture to be stagnant. And it's funny because when you watch a vulture, it'll spread its wings out and really like just take in the wind. It's very funny. But I think a lot of it has to do with emotions and encouragement. But that's another another story. I wanted to kind of to tell you this concept that I kind of thought about in this Trecena with this sort of 3-day period between 10 wind and 12 cot, or burning to ashes, or net, or whatever you want to call it. But so we have this like pressure to transform happening in Lahuik, and then we have a dilution of being empty, because the opposite day of or any Trecena is always the 11th day, and in this Trecena is Akabal, is the opposite day of transformation, and Akabal being the night or the dawn and dusk. It represents duality, and that's what transformation is sort of loosely based off of. It's the coming in and out of duality, or being cynical from duality. So this is this like magnetism that's playing in the calendar. So I always like to picture the calendar as a circle, because the day across from you, it sort of has like a magnetic force, that is keeping you or pushing you or driving you in a certain way, archetypally. So it's this emptiness that is transforming us, and also sometimes too much, like to be too complete or strict, because Akabal can be very much that. But transformation, because of a dilution, being diluted by a revealing, because Akabal conceals or reveals. It preserves or lets it go. And this is the hidden information aspect of Akabal. But the idea is that something has been revealed, and now you must transform. So that's where, and Apopion taught us about that with and I'm sort of making this connection with 11 Akabal being that something that comes out and is revealed that dilutes you to transform, to cause a transformation. And that dilution can be heavy. It can be so heavy, and as an emptiness inside of you. And it's almost like the heaviest thing can be complete emptiness to carry with 12 cot.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I was thinking about that too, and then you mentioned that. And one thing that I would like to add was very, very nice how you put it to Akabal, and also how you explained the Tobalhe, like this connection between like the opposite forces. For those who are watching, like we call that Tobalhe. Like if you see the color in a circle, you see like the one that is completely in the opposite direction. But if you count from like whether you see like the Bats as the number 1 and Junajpu as the 10, or Imosh as the number 1 and Aotzi as the 10, you see like the 1 and 11, for example, Bats, the monkey, and Imosh, the water. So you are following, like they kind of give balance to each other. Like they are telling to each other, but they also is what can keeps you in balance. Cannot let you to go all the way through. So that's this concept that Nick was talking about in here, with the transformation that we started in this Trecena and Akabal. And one thing that also it connects a lot to but probably more to the dark side of the Trecena, because as you mentioned, like we have to go in and out during this process of transformation. Like it's unquiet, like you are feeling incomplete. You don't know where to go, especially in the beginning of the transformation. Like you don't know what to think. You don't know what you want to become. So you still need to figure it out. So you have no idea. So you have to expand, like the possibilities. You need to go sometimes deeper into the darkness and go out of that. So you can be, like too much in and out in there. And Akbal can make now 11, to become like a stronger version, because as 11 is a mirror of the now that's accompanying. So Akbal being a strong and perfectionist, it's going to be wanting for you to really settle for the transformation, for now to find your path. So it's going to be perfectionist for you to find the clarity over there. But can also be like what you hide in the dark. What are your complaints about the world as well? You wanted to transform, but sometimes you are just carrying too much complaints, or too much bitterness inside of you that you need to release if you want to avoid the poison at the end of the Trecena. So 11 Akabal can be like the moment of the Trecena where just like you see like the release of the pressure. If the 10 could be like where everything is pressuring into everything to the center, 11 is going to be where we release like that. And I see that like Akabal can be the complaints for you not being perfect as you wanted to. The complaints like for you not being like to keep like the high standards, like the impossible standards that can be represented to. Akabal is a very good friend of yours, right, Nick? You know how to.
Yeah, complaining about being incomplete. You feel diluted because you're incomplete and you're cynical, so you complain. Or you were transforming. You are conscious of that completion, and you're trying to do something about it. And so then in turn, dilution becomes resolution or liberation. And that's the way we need to strive for in the sequence of time, is to liberate ourselves from the challenge of transformation.
Yeah, cool. That's amazing. Gonna go with Kabla Urkat?
Yeah, like I said, that it's one thing I think is Kat is a debt, is a doubt, a weight, a burning to ashes. It's coming down. It's this gravity. So to be an extra effort is pretty interesting. I think one thing is like if you are on that path of being diluted because of incompleteness, then this sort of emptiness inside you can become a very heavy burden that is your own choice to carry. And this is the 12th day is the day to restore yourself. Maybe to see that, look, you're carrying nothing. It's all just anxiety. Let it go. Because it's an illusion.
Yeah, exactly. And talking about that, because now Katu will talk about being on the service, like using your own efforts, in order to sustain something, just like the monthly bills that we pay, like the minimal stuff that we gotta do to live, like to achieve that. Yeah. But Kat also talks, whenever like we get extenuated by like our efforts, or just like when we try to carry too much weight, like we call that burning to ashes, because we use your energy to serve the others, just like teachers do. Like they used to serve the community, like they burn in order to provide something to the others. That's something of the nature of the cat. And that's your nawal, Nathan. Like if you're still there in the live, they're called the lizard. You can call like the net. But actually, the net would be more related to the bath, because the net's made from threads. But what we connect to cat is what we carry in the bag, like in the net, like the materials. Like if you carry too much materials in your bag, like more than what you need, you're gonna be expending more and extra energy in that. Like if you try to carry too much abundance from your harvest, so too much abundance can be a heavy burden for you. So we need to pay attention on how we measure that. Like now, cut days could be good days, not too free, or energy to avoid becoming burned out by the the efforts, by the service that we do.
Mm.
And because sometimes we need to transform because we're dedicating too much time for other people. We are forgetting about us. As Nick mentioned in Washaki Junajpu, we need to look out for ourselves as well, for our image. And so Kat, we will talk about like how we deal with that. And 12 as the hidden balance comes something as to compensate. Sometimes if you're doing well, like the war is gonna bring things into balance. You know, it's never gonna just let everything just always in balance. So Cap comes as this extra, flame to keep things, on the heat, or to keep things on the service. And what can be, being consuming you, as Khan can be like what is poisoning you, like Kaf can be like what is going to be consuming you to ashes. And maybe you can, like, maybe is the last moment, like that you can do something about it before it accumulates to something that you cannot control, as you're going to be seeing in the next novel.
Yeah, and maybe also gathering tasks, gathering up the tasks to transform, and by transformation, picking it up or letting it go. I think that's the idea.
Yeah, exactly. Just like letting go, like the burden or the heaviness of the bitterness of transformation, like the pressure.
Yeah.
That theme, especially because as in the beginning of the Trecena, we spoke about like the Hob Noch, like 5 thoughts, 5 knowledge, as we have like these root ideas, like this overflow of ideas or many things to organize or to synthesize. So maybe too much stuff, like if you become obsessed, now you're gonna be facing, like this extra, like the heaviness of the ideas that you had that you weren't able to organize. Or maybe you could be seeing like an extra harvest because you're able to organize and be able to handle the pressures very well. Like you had a system that will support all of the efforts that you are spending towards your personal lives, your projects, and everything. And then we move to the final day of the Trecena, the ruler, Oshlahu, the 13 stellar serpent. But one thing that I think is worth mentioning about the nawal, because I think we didn't mention here, that because also the Khan can be also the one that can be connected as the lawyer, the one that is going to be acting on the behalf of someone, the one that has the wisdom, that knows how to navigate through the matrix, as we were talking about that. He knows the rules, and he used like everything like the Akabal was able to reveal from the darkness, to this favor, to help someone in need, someone that requests that, to take someone out of trouble, as Kawuk can represent a final trouble, and Khan can be the lawyer that can save you, the one that you're going to be consulted because it's wise enough to get you out of trouble as well, the one that can make an intervention on your behalf. Have something to add to this accumulation of the Trecena?
Yeah, I think as we're going through, it's obviously we went through time as a transforming idea, and the idea is to transform and to transform like the snake does, and the snake it sheds its skin, and that's how it transforms to become a new person. So this Trecena has a heavy theme of transformation to become wise, to become the teacher or the wise person, and not to be tricked by the enemy or the illusion of your own illusions.
That's amazing. And that kind of made me remember, because can be like the one connected as the master of the disguises. This is the one that needs to transform all the time. But being the one that needs to transform all the time, he has to change ideas, has to try so many different things, has to go through all of this process of changing the skin. Like this process of changing over and over with time is where you find your true wisdom, because you experience a lot.
Yeah.
So you go through a lot. That's where how you get your streetwise. Now you learn how to walk on this earth. You know, like the dangers. You know how to be smart, how to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that,
calculating the predator.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an amazing Trecena for sure.
Yeah, it's amazing Trecena. And that's how you can accumulate. That can be the theory, can be like the moment like where we see what we got to intervene. Maybe we already saw like how was the path that we need to transform, and now we may be seeing things like with a brand new perspective, or maybe seeing like the illusion we were falling, in the past percent or past cycles that we were walking. And now if there is something that accumulated like as a poison, we're going to be having the next Trecena that is going to be from 1 death, 1 kame, to 13 tihash, the cut, where we can remove. Yeah, go on.
I'd like to say one more thing about this Trecena with the serpent, or as Ah being a staff, and the serpent rules the staff. I like how you're talking about the poison a lot, because I also think that with Khan, obviously, because it has the venom in the bite. But even in like our modern world, in the medicine industry, the symbol of medicine is the caduceus, which is the staff of Hermes with the 2 snakes.
Yeah.
The serpent has always been associated as a wisdom giver, a teacher, but also an enemy, because of this counterflow and this poisonous bite. But I also want to say one thing about the archetype of the serpent, is that the archetypes in general are beyond time. And even in the Mayan glyph for the serpent, is like a two little rectangles, and that represents the bite of the serpent. And it's funny because the serpent being lightning is also electricity, internal electricity, and even today in our modern world, we plug in our cords to little teeth,
Yeah.
to access the electricity. So like it's the puncture that the serpent makes to transform something into death or life.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, to shock the heart with the electricity.
Yeah, the electricity. Yeah, this electrical snake. Yeah, that's exactly what I picture. One thing that came to my mind also, as you spoke about the Medusa. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Medusa, yeah, with the Greeks.
The serpent, yeah.
Yeah, that turns the people to rock. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting too. Yeah, the archetype is beyond time, and it's funny how throughout time we associate with an archetype, and that changes too. And the serpent might be involved in that.
Yeah, it's true. And one thing that I was thinking about the poison, like I seen like this connection with the hash that is gonna be the next Trecena, because from the poison that we can accumulate from the serpent is how we can create the antidote, for healing the snake bite. And the next Trecena is gonna be the Trecena of the medicine. So what we ponder here, like the illusion, is gonna be an antidote to see through the illusion. So we're gonna be seeing through the mirror as a ruler of the next Trecena. That can see, that can review like the path. Yeah, it's a very interesting Trecena. Yeah, there are so many things that we can cover. We can stay here like for over 5 hours talking about the Trecena and not cover, everything.
Yeah, this one's an intense one. There's a lot of powerful themes and meanings to it that are it's a little bit more advanced.
Mm.
But yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that was
Thanks
cool.
for
Yeah,
inviting me.
yeah. I appreciate for you to accept the invitation. It was pretty fun. Yeah, just here people too small of the snake panel. They're gonna be so cute then. Yeah, yeah, it's true. Like even like the small snakes, they have like a very powerful venom.
Yeah,
And if
Rasputin.
anyone has, yeah,
The
you sure?
Russian Tsar Rasputin took poison, I think, to get his tolerance up. So that's why they said it was impossible to kill him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks.
So and before we wrap up here, yeah, if you have any question, Nathan, or anyone watching here before we close, it's been already almost like 2 hours here. Like this was a very long one. And now
Did
we
this?
can,
Did you record this, or is it just?
yeah, it's gonna be recorded. That it's gonna be here on Instagram and also gonna be uploading on YouTube.
Cool.
I'm gonna edit the two parts, so it's gonna be saved. But it was
Sweet.
a fun one.
Yeah,
So
that was great.
enjoy
I think
that. Just
it's
yeah.
very. I love how you've come so far in your ability to uh, weave the Trecena in a very fluid motion, and I'm very impressed and honored to come and speak with you about it.
It means honor. Like I'm being good because I'm walking with the good guys
Yeah.
in here. Like yeah, we are fortunate for being learning from that. What do you think? No, got the Maya come from Pleiades. They got the calendar from Pleiades. Actually, like the position of the stars is good enough for you to track to see like the how you're gonna to see like how you're going to point, like how you're going to connect as a point. So you have the stars, you have like the seasons, but the Maya calendar actually comes from the corn in the human gestation, and also observations of nature, and also our intertwined purposes, the things you go through life. So it's a calendar more structured for the human being. It's the way that we see the world, the way we're going to be perceiving. It's not something like that they come like the knowledge comes from that. Like everything's part of the is information for us. Like we look at the sky, you see the amount of light. The same way, not just the stars, like the thunder, the spider webs that can indicate like the change in the humidity. The corn, as I mentioned, like that, which is very essential for the foundation of the Maya people because it's what they did to survive. The agricultural. So it's more like how you position yourself to identify. It's not that something like comes from there, like as mystically comes from there. But of course, it was taken into account as an information to compress into what we see as the Maya calendar.
Yeah, the idea is that the calendar, that we are time, and that consciousness is time through drama, and that the calendar, the Mayan calendar, the Zolkin or Cholki especially, is the measurement of consciousness as time, not the sun, not Venus. Of course, the Mayans they track those cycles of time in our reality, but they are all working outside of the Zolkin or Cholki as a secondary. So it's like the basic foundation of time is the Cholki, and then the other calendars are extensions.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. The Turkey, yeah, is the one that is the central one that connects all the others.
Yeah, I think I have that
Oh,
right here somewhere.
oh, Carlos Barrios. Carlos Barrios is not like an authentic reference for for the Maya, even though like he was living there in Guatemala. like he's not his concept is not very well accepted among the Maya. Like he didn't speak no Quiche, and these things are like that you mentioned about the Lords of the Night as like the G1, D2, D3. Like it doesn't have like according like to what we learned. Like it doesn't have like enough affectation. It's more something like just to connect to the thunder and lightning, like the G1 and the G3, but it's not something that can like that is we know like the reform something that can be useful for our day-to-day lives. And oh, by the way, Nick, did you read the Carlos Barrios book, like the Book of
Yeah,
Destiny?
yeah, a long time ago. There's some interesting stuff in it. Um, it's not my main go-to source, but I mean, there's things here and there. I mean, he had a great perspective on the calendar, and he definitely, I mean, he wrote a lot. That book's really long and well thought out. I know that I'm pretty sure his daughter is doing a new Instagram because I'm
Yeah,
pretty
Maya Ukuf.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I think he passed away
yeah.
recently, and she's I don't know, but yeah, no. He was inspiring. I mean, I bought his book when I was just starting out, and I read it, and it was inspired by it. So, but I've uh, there's a lot more to grasp, and especially I think as a foundation to just understand this calendar is that it's not based on anything outside of you.
Mm-hmm. Energy environments valid according to energy environments. Like what we heard, like that. What can happen is like there are some nawals that can be stuck into some places, you know, and become part of the places for a certain amount of time. For example, I don't know if I got your question right, but for example, if you go to a highway where there are many accidents over there, so we may be seeing like they could be having like like an alchemy just taking over of the particular place, or because we live in like in this living world, so the environments can also have like can be represented by the nows as well. Because the nows, they are going to explain also like the way we see life, like the way we see like suffering, all this stuff that we all humans go through. And we can also perceive that because the energy changes according to as we move to place as well. Some places, you know, like talk more directly to us. It now like we just kind of feel it that just like that when you are traveling, we go to a place that we love that, or whenever we go to a place that we hate that, or it just gives us you know the chills or goosebumps. So so I think now we can wrap up because here in Brazil it's 1 a.m.
Uh,
Yeah,
right on.
but
Well,
I
thanks,
would say
Eduardo.
all night long too. I appreciate Nick for
Yeah,
to join here, and we can do that more often because it was fun to do
that
this
was a
just
lot of
analysis.
fun
We can,
for sure,
yeah, because we can
man.
offer a lot. Thank
Yeah,
you,
and hit me up beforehand
Nathan,
too.
for sending the questions. For everybody who joined the live, and for those who are going to be watching that. So make sure to check Nick's page, his Instagram, his TikTok, all his social media platforms, and you're going to be seeing us many times together here. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, Nick, again,
Yeah,
and see you in our next Just an Analysis. Bye, man. See
bye.
ya. See you, everybody.